How you doing, folks? This is Wayne S. Pierce for the American Liberty Radio Network. This is the Wayne S. Pierce Show. Yes, I'm yours truly. That was Ethan, is it Maxell, M-E-I-X-S-E-L-L? Ethan Maxell with Driven to Madness. Thank you, Ethan. Appreciate that. You can find that, folks, on YouTube. Go look. Ethan Maxell. I don't know how to pronounce it. M-E-I-X-S-E-L-L. Sorry, Ethan. But thank you for the piece of music. Got it off of YouTube. That won't fly with iHeartRadio. Yeah, I already asked them if I can put my show on there, and they said that the music has to be 30 seconds or less. And, well, you know. Why do I want to do that? Anyway, welcome. It's the 4th of August, 2017. How are you doing? It's the first live show I've had for a while, but hey, there's news. I have some news for the show. For American Liberty Radio Network, you will get more live shows beginning with another one of these shows next Friday, the 15th of September. Did I say the 4th of August? I'm sorry. Did I? Man, I am so backwards tonight. God, I woke up this morning, I thought it was Tuesday. I'm like, what? Did I slip through a time warp? It's the 4th of September today, 2017. So next Friday, the 15th of September, I'm going to have another live show. I don't know if I'm going to be in the studio. I have no idea. I don't know. But I will have another live show, and you will be here to hear it. Oh, and by the way, just little statistics behind the scenes here. One of the followers I had on Spreaker, left. I don't know who it was because I have over, 16,000 followers. So I noticed my number went down by 1. I'm like, what? Anyway, I don't have any specific thing to talk about tonight, but I do want to share something. I wrote a note on my Facebook page. I'll share this note on American Liberty Radio Podcast because I want you all to know exactly what I was thinking at the time. And so here it is. The subject of the post, of the note, is replies to my posts. Evidence is key. Okay, replies to post is a thought that I just had. Let me preface by saying this. Everyone has their own perspective. Regardless of what the subject is, everyone has their own perspective. What they perceive and how they interpret it, that's something totally different. So, I post what I post, from politics to personal views of various things, and I get replies. Simply put, people will react to what I'm saying and give me their view as a result of their own perspective. What they see, how they see it, that's how they're going to reply. Growing up as I did, my mama didn't raise no fool, and my grandma taught me better. As my mama used to tell me, quote, if you talk about something, you better know what you're talking about, unquote. I take that with me today. Thanks, Mom. With that, when I post something, I post links, resources in the link, within the articles mostly, and my hope is that people actually do their homework and use the resource links to find the answers for themselves. Nothing bugs me more than someone replying to something I post and implying or actually accusing me or the original author of the article of omitting very important facts. Note, I can back up whatever subject I talk about. If I don't know or if I have overlooked something, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm wrong. It just means I've overlooked something. So, back to the replies to my posts. I have heard a lot, including, quote, that website is a fraud, unquote, or, quote, if it's on the internet, it's got to be true, huh, unquote. Well, let me shatter your delusional paradigm once and for all. No one is completely right or wrong about anything. But that doesn't mean I don't expect a little evidence within the many replies I receive. What I expect is common sense, logic, and a healthy dose of reality in the replies I do receive. In other words, whatever you're saying, you have to prove to yourself it's true, to the best of your abilities of research. If you are just shouting out accusations and assertions, well, there's the door. Bye, have a nice day. In closing, make sure the links and the resources you post are credible, or I'll eat your research material for lunch. I'm putting that note up on American Liberty Radio podcast. Facts are facts, folks. I mean, there's no... how can you get around it? I'm serious. Anyway, I don't want to... I don't want to start off this live broadcast with a rant, but if that was a rant, well, okay then. I do want to go to yahoo.com for a minute because I saw something earlier. I hope they still have it on here. Yeah, I don't, I'm scrolling here and I don't see it. So, yeah, I know, I saw it earlier, but I don't see it now. No. I want to get into this tonight, and I don't want to really I don't want to underplay it or run this sucker into the ground. I just want to simply put it this way. There are certain things that I like. There are certain things that I don't like. There are certain pet peeves that I have. There's certain, and we're all like that. We're all like that. And taking a piece from the note I wrote, I'll say this. We all have a perspective of something. Hey, do this while you're listening to me if you can. Stand up. Just look straight ahead. Don't move your head. Don't move your eyes. Don't move your body. Don't do anything. Just stand there and look straight ahead. Your perspective is that. Focus on what's in front of you, everything that is clear, and also on the peripheral. Up, down, side, but don't even turn your eyes or move your eyes or nothing. You can see all that, right? That's your perspective. Now, you can move your eyes up, down, just the eyes. Don't move your head. Up, down, around, look around. That's another perspective. Okay, now you can move your head. Okay, move it to the left, move it to the right, up, down. That's another perspective. Okay, now you can move, look around. You can sit down and listen to me. That's fine. Now you know what perspective is. Now, perception is what you saw. That's the data that was entering into your ocular nerves in the back of your retinas and all of that, right? Through your corneas and all that. You know this. This is, simple health class can tell you that. Now you know what perception is. Interpretation is based on basically what you see and what you can compare that subject matter to find an answer. That's interpretation. Basic interpretation. But see, not a whole lot of people can do that. People have a perspective and then they viscerally react because they don't know how to interpret. They don't have anything to compare it to. They don't have anything. They have no credibility whatsoever within themselves to say, yes, I know what I'm talking about. Because they've never understood perspective, perception, and interpretation. They don't know how. Do you know why? It's real simple. Because someone else, a group of people or a singular person, told them how to see it. Whatever subject matter they were looking at, whatever issue they were talking about. Someone else told them how they should see it. This is completely and utterly wrong. I just instructed you on what perspective, perception, and interpretation is. I'm not telling you how to do this or whatever. I'm giving you the facts behind that, and there they are. I'm also telling you that other people will tell you how to see things, how to look at things, how to interpret things. In other words, they don't want you to think for yourself. They don't. They don't want you to think for yourself. Because they know that once you do that, you will have an advantage over them. And in the scope of the globalists and the world dominating presence of these groups all over the world, yeah, they don't like that. They want to stop you from thinking for yourself. I had to take some water there, folks, a little dry. But that's it. That's basically what I wanted to start out this live broadcast with. We all see things differently, folks. Don't even kid yourself. We see things differently. There's no other way of seeing things except our own way, period. No one else can tell us, hey, look at that car over there. If we're not looking over there, or someone in the scope of what's happening in the world today, in this century, somebody may say, hey, did you know? And they'll tell us. And then if we don't see it ourselves, we don't know. We're just taking their word for it. Why? When we ourselves are smart enough to go out and to do our own research on this stuff. Why not? You know what I'm saying? I honestly, I don't get it. I don't. I absolutely do not get it. You know? I find, and I'm going to put this question out to you. When you look at something, if you have nothing to compare what you're looking at, if there's nothing else in your life that you can compare that thing, that subject, that issue with, how are you interpreting it? It's a very basic question. And it really, we need to focus our attention, number one, on ourselves. It's number one. Because we live and need to survive, so we need to focus our attention on ourselves. And therefore, the whole issue with looking at things and interpreting it and doing all that, blah, 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 right? We need to understand ourselves to be able to understand other people. The comparison we have in the subject matter that we're looking at or that they discuss with us is based entirely upon what we know to be fact. Is this not true? If we didn't know anything that they were talking about, we're just going to take their word for it because we have no idea. And we need to admit that. actually, to tell you the truth. But take a look at this. Examine the very nature of who we are. Look at who we are. Just look in the mirror, look at ourselves, blah, blah, blah. Look at what we are. And the thing that we see, or I'm going to use me as an example because I like this. The thing that I saw in my life, looking at myself and examining who I am within the whole scope of life itself, what I had to do was I had to accept all my flaws, all my faults, everything, okay? And then I had to throw all that out and rebuild myself from the bottom up. I had to rebuild myself within what I knew of myself and what I didn't know. So using me as an example, I took from life those things that helped me. I took from life those things that were against me, that were contradictive, that were all that, and all of that. But here's why. Because everything that everybody was telling me and every way that everyone was telling me to be, I threw all that out and decided I'm going to be me. But who am I? And I began to look at that and I began to examine that. And that's where everything was laid at my feet. And I just said, hey, let's do this. So I did. I know some of that sound confusing. So at the bottom of the hour, I thought about taking a break, but depends on what I'm talking about. But let me finish up my thought, and it's this. When I looked at myself and I found that I was a carbon copy of everyone else, I went, no way, man. No way. Not going to do that. So I did what I did. And I made myself who I am today. And I learned a great deal from a lot of people and a lot of situations that I was in. So I don't regret my life at all. There are no regrets in my life because I've learned something new every day up to this point in my life. And I still learn something new every day. But I threw away all those concepts, all those preconceived concepts that these people had of me, and basically lost a lot of friends over it, or so-called friends, and decided, hey, life was meant to be lived. I'm in it. I'm going to live. Let's do it. And I just built myself up from that. Spiritually, psychologically, ecumenically, academically. So I just built myself up. So if you have good people around you, they will know. But then you'll have other people out there like, as I want to get into the meat of this live broadcast here, you'll have other people out there that are going to say that this website sucks, they're, this, and this person said, well, whatever. You get my point. You've seen those posts on your pages, I'm sure. You say something and somebody will come back with a link saying, well, that person's a fraud. Here's this. And it comes from a website that's been debunked many times over, or a YouTube video that's been hacked together by somebody that, like a sixth grader that didn't know how to use his daddy's editing machine. So you have all that. And when you get all this information, like me, I get emails, I get messages, I get posts, I get, whatever. And I look at the subject line, the headline, and I think, ooh, that's interesting. Let me take a look. Well, after seeing all these terrible disinformation pieces. When you see a headline, or when I see a headline, I'm just like, yeah, I know what it's about. I know what they're doing in response to what I'm posting in the context of what I've written. If they put a YouTube video or whatever, a headline, or look at this, whatever. Yeah, I know exactly what it is. I don't have to go any further than the headline because I've seen it over and over and over and over from discredited websites, debunked videos, all this. So anybody that has anything to say against anything that I post, if it ain't based on fact, there's the door. Bye. Have a nice day. Don't even post. Don't even think about it. Just go about your business. And somebody once told me that they don't reply to the things I post sometimes because, and here's their quote, they say, quote, "It's your opinion," unquote. Oh, and they qualified it by saying, it's your truth and it's your facts. No, it's not. When in fact, I put the link to the website in the post that I made. No, it's not my truth or my facts. And you can take the resources that I have and look them over and examine them and dig through them and do all that. And I encourage that, and I hope you guys go do that. But it's just amazing, folks. It's just amazing that people cannot accept the fact that, and I'm going to say it, nobody can accept the fact that they could be wrong about something. Okay? They could be. I oftentimes think that when someone replies to one of my posts, I don't think they really know what the hell they're talking about. I chuckle because I see it every stinking day. Okay? Every day. I don't even think they I don't think they know what the hell they're talking about most of the time. When they reply to what I say. I really don't. I do know, though. Honestly, I do know that they mean well. I know that. I know that they understand what's going on. I get that. But I really don't think they know what they're talking about. I really don't. Now, after I decided to take a little, just a small little break, just a small one, at the bottom of the hour. When I come back, there's lots to talk about. I may go over an hour, I'm not sure yet, but at least an hour tonight. Now, I've said all that in the beginning. I've said all that just a second ago. So I want to lead in the next hour with this. I'm afraid, well, that's a figurative word in this context, so let me put the right word in there. I was talking about how people don't really think they know what they're talking about. So I'm going to add one more group of people in there, which I think literally they need to just step back, take a look, examine themselves as well. And I think what it is that people really don't take the time to do that. So this group of people have this audacity, or not really an audacity, they have this arrogant attitude of thinking that people have to be their way. They have this conceited sense of themselves, thinking that they have all the right answers. And they don't. I don't. If I don't have all the right answers, and if I don't know everything, how can they know everything and have the right answers? It just doesn't make any sense to me. So, all in all, this group of people just, I don't think really care about, seriously, I don't think they really care about what goes on outside of their buildings, outside of their organization. Honestly, I don't. And I think they need to regroup, reset, reestablish themselves as a more open group, a more open organization. And there's a plethora of people and different parts of this organization. So I think they really need to step back, regroup, reset, do what they have to do to really examine themselves entirely and look at the subject matters that they didn't want to look at and really ask themselves some hard questions. I really think they need to do this. And folks, I'm talking about all these Christians that are out there. These Christians think they know what's going on. They think everything is okay. They think that, they're believing a myth, folks. And they want you to believe it too. I spent 20 years in Christian churches. I know. I'll be back right after this. The WayneSPearshow.weebly.com. The reality underneath the honesty. LiveTruthRadio.com. Check out Late Night in the Midlands with your host Michael Vera at LateNightInTheMidlands.com, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Go to LateNightInTheMidlands.com. The world as we know it has been turned upside down. The leaders are faced with possible annihilation from their enemies. The United States is at the brink of a total collapse. This is the reality we live in. What can be done? The truth, the facts. American Liberty Radio Network. AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com. Hey folks, how you doing? Welcome back. The Wayne S. Pierce Show, 4th of August, 2017. How are you? Are you good? Hope so. Now, if I teased you enough before the break, well, good. I'm glad. I spent 20 years, close to 20 years, at 2 different or 3 different churches in California. Now, why did I leave one church for another? Well, because a friend of mine went over to another one, and I went with my friend. So I was over there. I was over at that church. And to say that Christians are intolerant is, from my perspective, remember what I talked about, is an understatement. Because I tried talking to some of my Christian friends about what I do, who I am, what I am, all that good stuff. And I'll share with that, I'll share that with you later, but in another podcast. But just to listen to my friends condemn me, judge me and condemn me because of what I believe. Yeah, I couldn't get it. I just couldn't fathom the idea that they weren't open enough. They weren't tolerant enough. They weren't able to think outside of their ecumenical box to even, engage in a conversation with me about what it is I believed. And a lot of churches are that way. Even ones that you would not even think were that way are more than likely intolerant of anything other than their way of doing things. Now, I can go into the whole, history of the Christian church, and I can go, but that's for a different podcast. And frankly, I don't have that much time to go into it. I'll probably take an hour and give you the history of the churches and all of that, and the Council of Nicaea, and the whole schmear. But you know what, folks? I can do that. And I will at some point have a podcast about that, about where the churches came from and all that. But I think you're smart enough to go out and research this stuff on your own. But like I said, I will have at some point a podcast that discusses that. And who knows? I may have some guests on the on the broadcast. Who knows? But folks, when you look at what's happening in our world today, I'm going to say this, that aren't we who are a part of humanity, isn't it our obligation and duty to take care of one another? Huh? I say that in light of what happened in Texas. Mises.org. I can't pronounce the person's name, but I'll put this up on American Liberty Radio Podcast on Facebook. And it says here how welfare states encourage bad economic thinking. The forces of capital consumption irreversibly overcome the forces of capital accumulation. The greatest intellectual accomplishment of the laissez-faire liberal theorists was the recognition of the quote-unquote hard and quote-unquote soft institutions that are crucial prerequisites of productive accomplishment and material prosperity. The hard institutions include private property rights, market prices, and sound money. The soft institutions include those that reinforce values such as prudence, thrift, resourcefulness, innovative courage, and respect for success. However, this accomplishment was accompanied by a proportionally great intellectual error. Now, remember that. Keep that in your cranium. Proportionately great intellectual error. The belief that these institutions can be safeguarded exclusively by a monopolistic apparatus of aggressive violence, commonly known as states. Since states necessarily parasitize, is that what it is? Since states necessarily parasitize on the, parasitize. Yeah, that's a word, isn't it? Since they become parasites on the productive outcome of the market society, the belief, now here's this, I saw this earlier in another article similar to this, but this is something that I saw earlier before the broadcast, and this is very, very interesting. Let me go back. However, this accomplishment, what I spoke of before, you can go back and listen to it. However, this accomplishment was accompanied by a proportionately great intellectual error, the belief that these institutions, the hard and soft institutions, can be safeguarded exclusively by monopolistic apparatus of aggressive violence, commonly known as states. Since states necessarily parasitize on the productive output of market society, the belief that they are necessary for its emergence, let alone that they can remain minimal after its emergence, is fatally misguided. On the contrary, it appears perfectly predictable that they will grow in step with the increase in market output. Now, it's a long article from Mises, Mises.org. So I'm going to put this up on, and you guys can read it for yourself because I butchered some of it. So I'm going to put this on American Liberty Radio Podcast for all of you to look at and to read. It's a long article, folks, so take time, read it, check it out. Let me know what you think. Post a comment in the comment section down there. Yeah, it's a pretty lengthy article. But basically, as I see from my perspective on the market, we, the people, are nothing more than commodities to the businesses we work for. And we are paid at the rate a commodity is worth, not what the position we're in is worth, which is a hell of a lot more than what we're getting paid now. The market itself, whether it be, the retailer or the service industry or whatever, when we ourselves are paid at the worth or at the price or at the value of that position, the market increases along with everything else. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? It depends. What are you a part of a hard institution or a soft institution? They both coexist and relate and interact with one another. And of course, when you have too much of one, you'll not have enough of the other and vice versa. But it all stems from the market. The pay that we get every day stems from the market value of the product or service that is out there. Okay? This is my perspective and my opinion on this from my observation. When we, the people, are paid per value of the position, not the value of the product or service, the economy grows. Okay? Now, anybody out there crunching numbers Anybody out there that crunches numbers, tell me what I've overlooked, if you would, please, because I'd like to know. If I've overlooked anything, please let me know. Email me at AmericanLibertyRadio@USA.com. AmericanLibertyRadio@USA.com. So, it talks about the welfare state. This article here from Mises.com. And it says, literally, the hard institutions include private property rights, market prices, and sound money. That's the hard institutions. The soft institutions include those that reinforce values such as prudence, thrift, resourcefulness, innovative courage, and the respect for success. That's the soft institutions. They both work together, and one can be identified as the other in some cases, depending on the region and the market where whatever that is. And it says the belief that these institutions can be safeguarded exclusively by monopolistic apparatus of aggressive violence, commonly known as states, that right there tells me, as it says before that, this accomplishment was accompanied by proportionately great intellectual error, thinking that it could be safeguarded by the monopoly of the states. That's a huge, massive freaking error. You cannot have both of those monopolized by the state to operate in ways that are going to be successful. There's no way. Absolutely no way. You have to have a free market, free enterprise for those both to work together for the betterment of the economy. You cannot have these two separated. They will interact. Don't get me wrong. They will interact. But even when they're separated, they will interact. But you cannot have the state overseeing it to monopolize both of them for their agenda. You have to open it up to free market so that we, the people, can benefit from it. See? That's my opinion of an observation. So thank you very much. So you number crunchers out there, I want you guys to send me information telling me what I've overlooked, if anything. Please tell me. AmericanLibertyRadio@USA.com. AmericanLibertyRadio@USA.com. Put in the subject line radio so I know you heard this. But let me know. I don't care where you are in the world. If you're a number cruncher, if you look at this stuff every day, show me where I've overlooked something, if anything. Okay? So, anywho. So, folks, I want you guys to go check out not right now, but go check out a friend of mine, Mr. Brian Lang, over at LiveTruthRadio.com. Live Truth Radio NTV with Mr. Brian Lang over at LiveTruthRadio.com. Yes. Lots of stuff happening. We have fires in California, Oregon, Nevada, Idaho, Montana, Washington. We got fires all over the place, folks. We're burning up here in the Northwest. We got fires close to us here in where I'm broadcasting live in FEMA Region 8. We got fires near Roundup. We got fires near Missoula and Butte. We got and if that wasn't enough, we got earthquakes, folks, up here near Butte, near Lincoln, Montana. We got earthquakes, swarms, 2,300 earthquakes. Near and in Yellowstone National Park. Yosemite is burning up too, by the way, in California. Got fires going on there too. But we got earthquakes going on up here. Through Idaho, Wyoming, Montana. They've had earthquakes in Nevada in the last several days. I don't know about you, but I'm not doom and gloom. But boy, I'll tell you what. The earth is certainly rocking and rolling and shuffling off all those bad things that are happening to it, isn't it? So we got a lot going on. Got a lot going on. Changing gears, I bet you heard, you hosts on Spreaker.com probably heard this. Spreaker.com and blogtalkradio.com have merged for the sake of advertising and a bigger reach in the markets. So that's in one way, I knew this was coming when I left Blog Talk Radio about longer than that now, about 7 years ago. I knew this was going to happen at some point. Just didn't know when. I just had a feeling, and, because Blog Talk is very, very popular, and people are still over there, and they've upgraded their systems, but unfortunately, they've screwed people when they started doing all their changes, because at one point I had a 2-hour free, I had 2 hours free that I can do a show. The problem was Blog Talk can only allows you to do one show a day. With Spreaker, you can do as many shows a day as you want. That's the advantage that Spreaker has. And that's why a lot of people I've talked to left Blog Talk Radio and came over to Spreaker. But now Spreaker and Blog Talk are merging. And you can also, if I can speak, you can already see it in the front page on Spreaker. When you go to the home section, punch in Spreaker.com. It looks almost like blogtalkradio.com. Why? Let's see. Now, the advantage that Blog Talk Radio had was the fact that you had a way for people to call into your shows. Now, I hope, Spreaker, are you listening? I hope that you give that to the host for no extra charge, because your advertisers are paying for a lot of the stuff, so thank you, advertisers. Because I'm not paying any more than what I am. Spreaker, hey, Francesco, look at my account. You'll see how much I'm paying every month. I don't want to pay any more. You see what I'm saying? So make it the point that, you ain't raising no prices on us. Okay, because you ain't the only game in town. I'm telling you. And people can get their own player and get their own way of doing things, and they'll just leave your platform immediately. Okay? Because you got a lot of other broadcasting, like Sam Broadcaster, you got OBC, whatever it is, OBC, is that what it is? I don't know, I have no idea. But you got other ways of doing, things, right? So, prices better not go up. I'm telling you, people are going to be unhappy. They left Blog Talk to come over here because 3 hours at what they were, charging, as compared to you can broadcast as many times as you want for how much you guys are charging. Hey, that's why I came to Spreaker. So I'm just telling you. Okay? Yeah, so enough of that. We'll see what happens as the merger and all of that is solidified and we start to see changes, and let's hope they're good. Let's hope they're positive. Let's hope, let's see what's going to happen. Okay. Let's see what's going to happen. All right. So what else? A lot of stuff going on here in the big city of Billings, Montana. We got a lot of stuff going on. It's amazing. There's just so much stuff that I don't even know where to begin. Honestly, I don't know. So anyway, Don't know where to begin. Let me do this. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go to Infowars.com for a minute because I was looking at it earlier. I hope they still have it on their front page. Let me look here. Now, here it is. Yeah, it's right at the front. I found it. Yay. Paul Joseph Watson over at Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.com is saying this, the 4th of September 2017. Japan fears Trump will attack North Korea after latest nuke test. Quote, it is a threat to the entire international society, unquote. Fears are growing within the highest levels of the Japanese government that U.S. President Donald Trump will see North Korea's latest nuclear test as a final straw and launch a military attack on the Stalinist state. Is he? I don't know. A so-called quote-unquote perfect test of a hydrogen bomb 10 times more powerful than North Korea's last nuclear test took place on Sunday and was followed by a magnitude 6.3 earthquake, according to U.S. Geological Survey. The U.S. Defense Secretary James Mattis followed up by threatening, quote, a massive military response, unquote, adding, quote, we are not looking to the total annihilation of a country, namely North Korea, but as I said, we have many options to do so, unquote. That's what U.S. Defense Secretary James Mattis said. This is going up on American Liberty Radio podcast. There's a lot of articles that I put up in the last several hours on American Liberty Radio podcast. Please go check them out if you would. Thank you. Appreciate that very much. So, the whole issue, and people have talked to me about this. They've asked me, why do I have to explain myself to people on Facebook? Well, I'll tell you why, and it's real simple. People need to know. No, they don't. Yeah, they do. I hear, no, they don't. Yeah, they do. Seriously. They do. Because I don't think they get it. I honestly do not think they get it. I wrote on American Liberty Radio podcast, okay, let me get this straight. President, Vice President, Speaker of the House. Are these the three in order that are in control? Congress. Is this the place where all things are decided? Who's the boss? Should the president go to Congress and tell them this is how it's going to be? And why the hell aren't we making sure that Congress follows the Constitution? And why is 95+% of Congress attorneys? I just don't get it. The Founding Fathers made it so we could have direct access to our leaders, and now, 241 years later, we're blocked from that access? Corporations plus politics equals fascism. Or have we forgotten that? Fascism, or any brand of totalitarianism, plus globalists, world industrialists, equal New World Order. Have we forgotten that too? Religion plus multiculturalism equals division and political correctness. This is not what this country was founded upon. Freemasons, French and British sects, both were instrumental in creating the way for the New World to be captured. Through manipulation and deep pockets, the founding of this nation was pretty much pre-planned and set up to fail. The quote-unquote experiment in democracy has failed big time. The Republic of, by, and for the people has taken a back seat to corporate greed and corruption. Think this country is not on the verge or the very precipice of collapse and failure? Think again. Seriously. It's on American Liberty Radio podcast. We have no idea how to react when we can't use our cell phones. When the stores are closed because we can't get in to get food. We don't know how to react when all hell breaks loose and there's dozens of people running through our neighborhoods, causing all sorts of problems, breaking windows. We don't know how to react to that. We don't. One of the, what I call the reincarnation of the Twilight Zone in the 80s, had depicted a certain neighborhood where the lights went out, but only one house had all the lights on. Yeah, go check that out. Go check that out, man. The original Twilight Zone also had something of that nature. I can't remember, my better half, Diana Nelson, knows the title to that one. I don't, but I've seen it, and I guarantee you people are going to come freaking unglued because they don't know what to do. They don't know, like me, I know how to take the lead. I know how to do things. I know what to do, how to, measure certain areas of, this person needs this, and okay, let's gather the people around that can help, that kind of, I know how to do that. Okay? I do know how to do that. Not going to tell you how, but I do know how to do that. Not going to tell you how I know, but I've learned throughout my life. People have taught me, and I know. But anywho, we don't know what to do if the lights go out. We don't. And we'll react viscerally if anything is out of the norm. We won't be calm. Most of us, anyway. Some of us will be calm to try to calm down those people that are not calm. Do you see what this whole thing is just going to go to hell in a handbasket. We're not going to be able to handle it. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not going to go over the hour, so I'm going to take off here, folks. You guys rock, man. I'm not kidding you. You guys simply rock. Keep sharing the show. Keep downloading it. Let me know what you think in the comments at American Liberty Radio Network on Facebook or American Liberty Radio Podcast on Facebook. Let me know what you think. Drop a message in there. Drop, something. Let me know, man. Interact with me. American Liberty Radio Network on Facebook. Go to the website, AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow on the American Liberty Radio Podcast right here on American Liberty Radio Network, sharing the truth one fact at a time without all the BS.